Hi guys, I have something exciting for you today. In this video, we'll learn about dynamic programming with practical implementation and analysis. So let's get started. Let's understand what is dynamic programming. Dynamic programming is a technique for computing a recursive algorithm with highly overlapping subproblem structure. Dynamic programming achieves efficiency by solving each subproblem only once. We will do a deep dive into each of these concepts in this video. A recursive algorithm breaks down a larger problem into smaller subproblems, combining the smaller results into the larger ones. When a problem is broken down into independent chunks with no overlap, the technique is known as divide and conquer. In contrast, when subproblems overlap, resulting in the same subproblem being solved again and again, dynamic programming becomes useful. In this video, we'll walk through one of the dynamic programming examples, computing the Fibonacci sequence. As we discussed, in divide and conquer, the subproblems don't overlap, whereas in dynamic programming, the subproblems overlap. Let's quickly take a look at the Fibonacci sequence. The Fibonacci sequence is a sequence in numbers starting with 0 followed by 1. The next element is the sum of the two previous elements. For instance, the first element is 0, the second element is 1, so the third element will be the sum of the previous two elements 0 and 1, that is 1, and so on. One way to describe the sequence is with the recursive formula. Let's take a look at that. As you can see, there are two base cases for when the input is 0 or 1, and the remaining just calls the sequence function recursively. As we know, the Fibonacci number with index n is simply the sum of Fibonacci number with index n-1 and n-2, and that is what we have given in our recursion. For measuring how much time it takes to execute, we will use the Java instant class. Now let's run it for 20. It took around 0.001651 seconds. Now let's run it for 40. It almost took half a second. Now let's run it for 25. Computing for 45 took almost 5 seconds. This is a huge increase. At this rate, I wouldn't even consider computing 100. It looks like the time is going up much faster than the input. Let's take a look at what made such an increase in time in the recursion method. Let's say we want to find the sixth Fibonacci number, the fifth index starting from 0. For F5, we need to calculate F4, F3, F2 and so on. Till now there is no issue. The problem starts now, when we have to recalculate the same subproblem again and again. Like F3 will be recalculated for both F5 and F4. This increases the time complexity in a non-linear fashion. Let's take a look at another approach for reducing this problem. The next approach is memoization. It is a technique of speeding up computation by caching results of repeated calculation. This way, when the same calculation has to be performed a second time, the result can quickly be looked up in the cache instead of performing the calculation again. As you can see, F3 is calculated twice in the recursion method. That can be cached, and when the same calculation has to be performed again, the result can quickly be looked in the cache. Let's see how we can use memoization to compute the Fibonacci sequence. We want to maintain a cache. It is typically represented by a hash map. The base cases remain the same. We will just use a hash map to store the result for the calculation. If the result of a given index in Fibonacci sequence is calculated, we will add it to the map. And if a given index needs to be recalculated, we will simply check if the value exists in the map, and if yes, we will return the value. Let's calculate for 20. It is close to 0.0000341 seconds. Let's calculate for 40. It is 0.00053 seconds. Let's calculate for 45. it is 0.00055 seconds. The increase is linear in this approach, but the space used is directly proportional to the calculated index. As we discussed, memorization makes the calculation fast using the cache, but the space utilization increases linearly. Every calculation made will be stored in the map. Let's take a look at another approach to solve this. To avoid wasting space, we can use bottom-up dynamic programming. In this technique, earlier subproblems are solved first so that their results are ready when needed. Because of a predictable order, this allows us to throw away earlier results when they are no longer needed. To apply the bottom-up approach to the Fibonacci sequence, we need to find the right order to perform calculations. A good way to find that order is to draw the dependencies between the subproblems. Let's say we want to calculate the sixth Fibonacci number, index 5, if counting from 0. F5 depends on both F3 and F4. F4 depends on both F3 and F2. Note we just drew the second line on F3 and it continues in the same fashion. As you can see, for calculating F2, we need F0 and F1. Once F2 is calculated, for calculating F3, we need F2 and F1. F0 is no longer needed. Similarly, for calculating F4, we need F2 and F3. F1 will be no longer needed. This approach can be used to calculate the sequence with just two values in memory and without recursion. We will set the default values and iterate from 2 to the required index. At any given point of time, we will just keep two values in the memory, the last two values calculated. Let's calculate for 20. It is 0.00293 seconds. Let's calculate for 45. It is 0.00047 seconds. As you can see, it offers linear increase in time with constant space utilization. That's it for this video guys. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe. Thank you.